Hi Past Me. It's your older and wiser self. Today I'm going to watch a video of myself from 10 years ago when I graduated in graphic design and was about to enter the industry. Just to give you some context, Past Jenny was graduating with a BFA in graphic design from California State University, Long Beach, and when she was about to graduate, she didn't know exactly what she wanted to do as a designer, and she had a lot of difficulty focusing in school because she was involved with 3 non-design extracurricular activities. So I think her goal back then was just to work somewhere that had cool projects, but I don't think she was very confident in her design skills at that point because she just didn't specialize in anything. So I think Past Me would be so surprised that I not only figured out that typography was my specialty, but that I help people organize their work today. And if you need some help with productivity and your workflow, check out my coaching program, the Creative Flow Academy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. So I'm going to start by answering the same questions that my past self answered and see if there's anything that has changed since then. All right, so let us give this a shot.
I'm Jenny, and I am one of the 24.
Okay, so just as a heads up, like I still have this top. I feel like I should have worn it, but it's so funny because I think when we were branding our senior show, it was just about like the 24. This wasn't the full launch of our whole campaign for our show, but we did this little thing like hinting at who we were, and this was done in our graphic design studio. I'm wearing like a little ring that had a airplane on it because I was already into like the sky, so that's just all it was. Oh, also I had a perm. I was like, wow, I had been working for a salon, and so one of the things that they did, they offered to do a perm for me, so I was rocking a perm during this time. So I think it was cool, but I don't think I'd ever get a perm again. How has the BFA program changed me? So for me, the BFA program has changed me. It's been 10 years since I've graduated, and one of the biggest things that I figured out was the fact that all of my friends that were from school were mostly from the BFA program, and I think that kind of network is something that is completely irreplaceable, knowing that people have gone through a similar process. So I think it's mostly just the connections that I've been able to keep. My partner Lucas is also in the same program as I am, so I think it was just one of the biggest things that have changed since then.
It's definitely made me a little bit more confident in graphic design. I think when I came in here, I was just kind of like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but seeing other people's work and seeing what they're able to do skill-wise, I think that made me a little bit more confident in what being a designer means.
Okay, so the fact that I said that BFA program made me feel more confident, like, of course, it's the graphic design program, of course it's gonna make me feel more confident. But I think it's funny that I said that seeing other people's work made me feel more confident, and I think it was just because I actually saw graphic design projects that lived out there that made me feel like graphic design was actually something to be respectful in terms of a career. Because growing up, I only thought that being like a doctor or a nurse or a veterinarian was something that would be respected, but things have definitely changed since then, where graphic design has been so much bigger than it is now. So I think it's interesting that I felt like maybe I didn't really know too much about what I was getting myself into back then. So this question is, where do I find inspiration? And where I find inspiration now is a lot of the stories that I tend to see whenever I'm interacting with my friends, when we go traveling, or whenever we're out with my family, just seeing the relationships that form and how people listen to each other. I think that's one of the biggest moments of inspiration that I'm getting today. And also just being able to see how different mediums such as architecture and painting can still guide and tell stories and create hierarchy in different ways. So those are the places that I'm currently finding inspiration. So let's see what I say.
family. I really look up to like my parents, especially my mom, who was always like super optimistic or super like fun all the time, always smiling. Definitely watching her really gives me a lot of inspiration.
So just hearing about how my parents have really influenced me back then is pretty crazy, because I don't think 10 years ago I would have realized that they would be gone at this point. Because my mom had been suffering from Alzheimer's at that time. She wasn't able to see me graduate, but even like not thinking that my dad would be here today. And so I think it's really interesting that like back then my parents were a source of inspiration for me, and I think even today they have become a source of inspiration for me now, because they've inspired my business and like figuring out ways of like how to strengthen our way of communicating through building confidence in what we have to say. So I did not mean to cry on this at all, so here we go. It's happening. Okay. Wait.
My hair has been a lot of different colors. Since starting the program, I think it's undergone every shade from red to what it is now. I don't know how many colors that's been, because at one point, when I first dyed it, it was like Rihanna red, and then it went to peach, and then nicer peach, and then some of it was still red, so, and then pink, and I miss the red.
Man, no. So no on the red. So the colors of my hair was, I was working for a salon. I was helping them with their website, so I was able to color my hair so many different ways, including getting the perm. So I did red, turquoise, purple. At one point it was like I tried to do like platinum and even go like white, but those were so expensive and they're crazy. And even after I've graduated, I've since been dyeing my hair blue and purples and letting them fade in between, so they were pretty much that whole side of the spectrum. I never went on like the yellow green side as much. I think the furthest I ever got was teal, but that was where I got a lot of my nicknames like Blue, and why I colored my hair blue, and I just wanted to celebrate the sky. So it was a lot of different colors to try, and it was really fun to stand out. But I think I think when my nieces started seeing me color my hair as much, I wanted to show them that coloring your hair blue or having really funky colors wasn't the only way to feel beautiful about yourself, and so I stopped doing that. I also remember being in the shampoo sink and thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna need to do this and retouch this up every like 4 times a year or so, and doing that for the rest of my life, that just seemed really unrealistic to do that. Airbender.
I am definitely an airbender, because I don't need any other elements to like fuel my passion. You know what that means?
I am still an airbender, and so if you don't know, this is a question from Nickelodeon's Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was something that I really enjoyed. And even then, I've definitely connected myself with being an airbender. I think it was just because I loved clouds, and like what a gross response about why I don't need any of the other elements. Like, of course you need the other elements. You need to be well-rounded, duh. You can't just be like one note. Like, you just need to learn and be observant. Like, that's just so lame of me to say. I think it's fine, but I don't need to just be an airbender. It can be more than that. But here we go. More cringe watching with me. What is your most memorable moment in the program?
My most memorable moment would have to be the day when we all drew the same tree in Sanook's class. Because Sanook does it every semester, where he asks his students to like draw a tree to really identify what their personality is, and the fact that we all just did the same one just to like F around is just really funny. Shows how like willing we are to like mess around with the teachers.
So that wasn't so one of our teachers, he asked us to draw a tree, and depending on how we drew the tree and how we created details and where we placed it and what kind of details we included, whether it had an apple, if it was on a hill, if there was a branch or anything like that, it was supposed to signify something about our personality. And so we all as a class decided to mess around and draw the exact same tree. And looking back now as a teacher, I'm like, okay, there was some meaning behind that. We didn't have to take over the whole activity and do something crazy with it, but it was totally harmless. He just divided up the class based off of where we placed our photos or hung it, so it wasn't that important, and it didn't make so much of a statement as I think we thought it did. Because being a teacher, you're just trying to figure out ways to split up the class and just have a little bit more meaning assigned to what we do. So if I had to go back and say now what is my most memorable moment from being in the program, I'd have to say getting to go to Hong Kong to present one of our graphic design projects. I don't think that the school goes there anymore to present, but I think going on a trip with your classmates, even just going outside of just going on any trip with your classmates has a profound impact on how you view your work, because not only are you traveling with your peers, but you're also observing your work in a different perspective and also presenting it to a new audience. So it takes the context of your work into a new space. So I would say getting to travel with all of my classmates now. So, the show your best finger dance. Gross. If I could do a dance now, it would be still the same. Last words.
I'm Jenny, come to our show.
I'm Jenny, come to our show. This website's no longer live anymore. So if there were any last words that I would give to graphic design students now, or at least myself now, is, I don't know, having some fun with this, because I think when we were putting this whole thing together, we wanted people just to come to our show. We thought the goal of it, well, at least I did, I thought it was just to throw a party for ourselves, to do those things. It is a requirement of our students to put on a show like this. So we just saw it as an opportunity to have a party and to make it fun and memorable. But I think being able to demonstrate my work was something that happened secondary, and that's something that I didn't think of. And maybe it was because I was personally distracted with whatever was going on in school, whatever drama I was experiencing with friends or groups or anything like that. But I think if I were to go back, I would have utilized this as an opportunity to really demonstrate what mattered to me that I don't think I was able to in the courses that I was doing. And of course, I was probably distracted, or I had too many things that I put on my plate in terms of activities, but I did myself a little bit of a disservice not taking this opportunity to say something a little bit more meaningful, because it was a lot of work that I had already done for my classes just compiled together for this. I thought that it mattered that we had to get this really cool venue to get all of our work done and share it with people and have an open bar, but it was just not really understanding what it was all for and really understanding the purpose and the intent behind having a senior show. So not to say that was just a singular instance at that time, but it was just something that I had gone through. So yeah, I wish I had more like meaningful stuff to say other than like a finger dance and my hair, but maybe that was just stuff that people found interesting from me at the time. It's really quite cringe now that I'm looking at it and after I've making content after this long. So looking back at it now, I feel like I've made so much strides in figuring out what that direction is for myself, and now I actually help other designers figure out their direction too, so that what they're creating is meaningful to them and that it has intention and that there is somewhere that they're going with it. So if you are someone who needs help with productivity and workflow, check out my coaching program, the Creative Flow Academy, where I am helping you one-on-one for the next 90 days to figure out your direction as well as organize your workflow, so you're not like past me just kind of going all about. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.